back here. The last time I promised that we're gonna be speaking about my journey into the next phase of my life. You're welcome back to my channel, and I hope. What was the feedback from the last recording that I made? Was there anything that struck you? I would love that you share in the comment section. And if you haven't seen it, please go to my channel, Bisola.speaks. You'll see the video from the last recording. Okay, so going back and coming forth, one of the questions that I got is, how do you survive a life as a single mom without help? I think mindset has to do with this a lot, right? I didn't have that mindset that I had help in human beings. So my expectations were not high. So for instance, if you get married to someone, you have high expectations and you place that bar so high. When you place that bar so high and the person doesn't meet up to that bar, then you begin to have issues, right? Because the bar has been so high. So I'd learned my lesson in marriage, not to raise my expectations unnecessarily. So I didn't put in any expectation, even with family. I didn't do that. I believe that everyone has their cross to bear. Everyone has issues that they're facing. I can't come with two children and burden another person. So that was the mentality that I had. And because of my nature, I am naturally one who believes in, I believe that God has created everyone for a purpose. And he has given each person that grace and strength for the journey. And he's that God that wants you to be happy. So he wants you to be prosperous. So I believe there is a clear path of prosperity and abundance for everyone. It is a strong belief of mine. I don't doubt it for anything. So I think that mindset is the mindset that I had that made me believe that I can survive without a help. I hear people say things like, gosh, it's hard living life as a single mom. It's hard. But I never made such statements. I would say, oh, things are well for us. We're going good. When anyone asks me, how is life like as a single mom? It's hard. I said, I will never affirm to that. I'd say, oh, it's good. We have help. I have help. My help always comes from God. The first time I was going to get a job, I'd made up my mind I wanted to work. I'd done volunteer work for a while, and I wanted to start earning. And I didn't want to rely on government services anymore. And if you're there, you're thinking that, I just came into this country and I started a job the next day. No, I was on government services for a few months before I finally got a job. So I got a job and I was asking myself, where am I going to put my kids? What is going to happen with my children? And I just said a little prayer. I said, God, you have to help me here. I asked for a job. You've given me the job. Now, how do I care for my children? You see, these are the things that single moms go through. And I asked God for help. And that day I remember he says, step out. So I stepped out. And I didn't know anyone where I was staying. I started knocking on doors. Hello, I'm looking for a babysitter. Hello, I'm looking for a nanny. Where can I get one? Hello, I'm looking for a sitter. I'm looking for a daycare. I knocked every door. I called every number that I found, and I was desperately looking for one. And I think that day I think I'd had enough, so I went into the store, and I met my first nanny, an angel. She was buying something, and I remember saying I didn't even have a job. I remember telling her I'd pay. She was looking for just coins. I'm sure she had the money, but she was looking for it. And I thought to myself, why am I stressing her? I have it there on my hand. How much did I even have? It wasn't a lot of money. And I said, I'll pay the excess. She said, no, it's okay. I said, I'll pay the excess. And then I paid the excess for her. And I asked her, as soon as I paid for her, I asked her, I said, do you know anywhere I can get a nanny? She said, oh, you're looking for a nanny? Where do you live? I told her where I live. She said, oh, that's my job. it was like there were showers from heaven. She said, that's her job. And then she asked me, how many kids do I have? I said, 2 kids. And yes, and that's how she became my nanny for many years, up until I was stable enough, to get another nanny. So she had to relocate to another another city. Yeah. So I had to get another nanny. If not, I'm sure she'll still be with me. She was such a loving person. She took care of my kids with love, and I would forever be grateful to her. So I'm just letting you know that I wasn't without help in actual fact. But when I say my help comes from God, He sent me the help that He knew that I needed per time. So I also had friends, I had family that would sometimes take my kids for a few hours for me, for me to be able to get some things done, for me to be, and on those days, those years, I remember I had to sacrifice alone time, because where was I supposed to get that? Was I supposed to drop the kids off at a friend's place and get alone time? So the only alone time that I'll get is when they go to school, and that's the time for me to clean up, to cook, to do this, to go on appointments, to do that. And I lived that life for many years, and I got help from food banks, I got help from friends, I got help from family, a lot of hand-me-downs. Yes, I used to shop at the thrift then, and the thrift store, and I remember even my first kettle, my first ironing equipments, lots of things were from my first set of cutlery were from the thrift store. A lot of things that I bought from the thrift, because at that moment, at that time, that was what we could afford. And I decided not to look out to I think God just blessed me with the right circle, I would say, at that time, because I didn't have to look to anyone and say, oh, she's a single mom, but she's doing so fine. Oh, she's a single mom, but she drives a car. I didn't have a car for the first 2 years, and we were jumping buses in the cold. We were jumping buses to go to church, to go to everywhere, and sometimes we would run to the bus stop, our legs would be frozen, sometimes we'd be beaten by the rain. And eventually I was blessed. God blessed me with a car. God blessed me with a house, with a home. I was able to afford my own house rent, and all of that. And people would ask questions like, what is it like as a Christian single mom? What was your life like? I put a lot of roadblocks in place for my sanity, because at that point there were lots of men around me. They knew that I was a single mom, so they would come with that kind of proposition. Hey, you don't need to, no strings attached. Let's just hang out. No strings attached. Let's just hang out. And I kept refusing all of them, because I wasn't even ready for that, and I knew what they wanted, and I wasn't interested in giving them what they wanted. So I put a lot of roadblocks, and I told myself, hey, you're gonna remain this way, for a certain period of time, and when the right person comes, you would know it. So after the relationship that I had, I just put it permanent roadblock, and the people that came by, I was able to sift through, because I had a long list. I had a long list of the type of man I was looking for. I had a long list of the type of man that I could not manage. I had a long list of the man that I didn't want. So when I see them and I see those characteristics, it was easy for me to cross out. So I was just crossing out, and I didn't let them cross a certain limit. So it was easy for me to back off and easy for them to back off. So I would not say, oh, it was an easy journey. I didn't have people, I didn't have men around me disturbing me. No, I did. But I put those roadblocks, I put those filters in place for a reason, because I didn't want to get distracted. And I like I said, my relationship with God is very important to me. So anything that was going to mess up that relationship, I wasn't interested. So sometimes we get distracted. We're human beings. We're, especially women, vulnerable, so we would see people that will show us all the love, and we might get distracted, but I think remembering the goal is very important. Why are you here? Why do you want this? So I kept reminding myself of those things. There were times that I'll almost sleep, and then I'll remember, hey, what is your goal? What are you looking for? What are you aiming to achieve? Where do you want to go? I didn't want broken relationships. I have not been that person that has had many of those in my life. So I didn't want to be, yes, I did have relationships before my ex, right? But I didn't want to be that person that, after her marriage, she had so many broken relationships. So I made up my mind that it's either the husband or no. So yes, and I told God, I said, I want to hear from you. You're going to tell me who he is. You're going to tell me where to meet him because I wasn't very social. I didn't have a social life. I like to just stay home with my children and go to work, come back, go to work, come back, do shopping, stay home with my children. I didn't have that extra social life except from church. And I asked him, how am I going to meet this person? Is he going to drop from the sky? And well, eventually he didn't drop from the sky. Eventually, the Lord positioned him in the right place. And I think that's also something very important for us to know, is that where you live, where you work, where you worship, those things are very important in your destiny. If you are, for instance, to meet with someone and this person is all the way in another country and you are all the way in another country, but you were supposed to relocate to the country you both are, and you never ever listen to the voice of God that has been telling you to relocate, you will probably not meet that person. If you are in the different cities and God told you one day to take a step out, and you never took that step out, you will never meet this person. So being in the right place, the right location, the right setting, all those things are very important in your life, to make the right choice. The choice of a life partner, I think, is something we shouldn't take lightly, because it's either going to make you or mar you. I had made the wrong choice in the first instant, and I wasn't going to make a wrong choice a second time. So I was very deliberate. And every decision, I was like, God, if you're going to tell me who he is, okay, then God then told me who he was. But then I'm like, I want you to tell me in clear terms, this person is yours. I think I was waiting for Bisola, daughter of God. I waited for that for a long time. And I'm like, how come Mary got it in the Bible and I'm not getting it? I want Bisola, my child. Yeah, but it never came. But I got a word. It was a word. It was a word that convicted me. And yeah, so eventually God sent him his son, and God gave me a word. God gave him a word, and yeah, and we found ourselves, and we finally got together. So the journey to becoming and eventually finding the one for you is one that I would say is a very, very sensitive one. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to make the wrong choice. You don't want to just you don't want to play puzzle with your life. You don't want to try this one and try that one and see if it works and then say, okay, if it doesn't work, it's okay, I'll divorce him. No. Marriage is destiny. The reason that God brings a man together with a woman is to fulfill destiny, is to fulfill purpose. There is a purpose behind every marriage. Every joining of a man to a woman is supposed to bring something. Forget the children. Yes, there is the children. I'm not talking about the children alone. I'm talking about the actualization of that union. It's for a purpose. So sometimes you see that you get married to someone and you begin to struggle. You struggle in that marriage. The marriage doesn't seem to work out and you are wondering, this is not meant to be. For some, it's not meant to be. But for some, it's because the devil has seen where that marriage and the good things that that marriage will bring. Then he attacks the marriage. He attacks the man, he attacks the woman. And then before you know it, they split. And they forget that marriage is for purpose. It's a destiny, it's a contract. The joining together is for a reason. So anyway, not to bore you with all of this stuff, but just to encourage you out there, if you're a single mom and you feel that you've lost all hope, you don't want to get mingled with any guy anymore, you've had too many heartbreaks, you just don't want to deal with this, you don't want to deal with any man anymore, you just want to remain single, don't let the devil deal with you that way. You need to break out from that fear. You need to break out from that trauma. Yeah, there is a man out there for you, just for you, just right for you, and he's waiting. There's a second chance to happiness. Yes, you can find companionship. I want you to feel loved and beloved. I want you to experience bliss. I would love that you experience happiness and wholesomeness. But you have to first break from that trauma. You have to first free yourself from that fear. Fear is not of the Lord. Yeah, it's not of the Lord. So you have to free yourself. When you're able to free yourself, when you're able to walk that journey to healing and break free from all of those things, those shackles, those mind conditioning that have held you back. You can imagine I also had that mentality. I used to say no more Nigerian man, no more Yoruba man. You know, I had all those, and I had idols in my heart, in my mind, you know, of who I wanted. I already, you know, but I had to break all those things. I had to then go back to discover my values. What are my values? Then I put in standards, you know, and I decided to understand my personality. Who am I? Who am I as a person? Who am I as a child of God? Where do I stand? So anyway, if you're out there, my love to you. And I'll be sharing next session when we come together. Okay? All right. See you soon. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Bye-bye.